Blessed be y'all, this is Jen Fremont. Today I want to talk about breaking boundaries. I've probably done this all my life, but probably in the last 6 to 10 years things accelerated a whole lot. And some of the stuff I did is stuff that was really scary. In '06 I got laid off from my job and I went back to school, get me another degree, which I never have used, but it was a very good experience because I met some cool people. I started thinking very differently because of the nature of what I was studying, which was paralegal studies. And it was partly in that time, but also a little bit later, I started really breaking some boundaries. And actually admitting, I won't say admitting, I will say accepting certain things about myself and going and actually letting myself explore those things. Ever since I can remember, when I was very little, I had this idea that if I had been a girl, I would probably have a better life somehow. I don't think that's true, but that's what I thought anyway. And I had a fascination with, women's clothes and makeup and stuff like that. And every once in a while, I would experiment with things like that. But that was I didn't allow myself to do that very often. And, I got with a group that was doing, rituals on a regular basis, and I was very comfortable with that group. And I had started wearing women's clothes to some extent. And I would get things that were pretty much unisex, so nobody really noticed. One of the problems was that, the men's clothes I bought, they failed spectacularly, really quick and ripped, and it was like I couldn't find anything. I tried several different brands, and it was like, I don't know what the hell the deal is. And so, I picked out some stuff that, it could go either way. And I started wearing, and I was like, I put on these pants, it's like, damn, these fit. They fit better than the other ones I ever had. And, I started doing that. And, it was the same thing with the underwear, too. I could not get what I wanted that would fit anymore. The company that I had bought from for years, they changed their sizes down, so that was gone. And then I noticed, there's a lot of things that are actually, other than the gusset, they're the exact same thing with a different label on it. And it's like, oh, okay, I might as well just get these, be done with it. But, there was, we had a fundraiser, and part of the fundraiser, it was a circus theme, and people were encouraged to wear costumes and stuff like that. And so I decided to go as the bearded lady. And so, I got this outrageous wig and everything, and did that, painted my nails and did the makeup and all that sort of stuff. I was like, wow, this is cool. I like this. So, I started experimenting with that. I started, sometimes I would put things on and go to a store or something like that, just to see what it was like and stuff like that. And it felt good most of the time. Sometimes not. But I did notice an interesting thing. It was easier to shop for women's clothes as a man looking for something for a woman than it was dressed as a woman to go and look at the same stuff. I got more I didn't get a whole lot of attention, but I got more weird looks and stuff like that when I was dressed as a woman. But then again, when I go to the checkout stand, about 70% of the time they say ma'am, and it's like, I don't know. Even when I had a beard and short hair, they still did that, and I never did understand that. So, but that was one of the things I started breaking, and then the other thing was just sexual stuff. I'm not going to be real explicit here. I try to keep my things kind of PG rated, so. But I figured out how to talk to women and pick up women and stuff like that. And there were certain types of women and stuff like that I had always stayed away from. Not that I really thought it was morally wrong. It's just that I didn't think that was my thing, and I just didn't think that was my thing. And so I decided, well, I'm just gonna give this a try. If I don't like it, then I don't have to do it again. But I went out with those women. I did some of the things that I always thought maybe were not for me, and it's like, oh, okay. In all that, I didn't really find what I was looking for, but they were not bad experiences. They were good experiences. And the other thing was, I let myself explore my bisexuality too, because all of my life, to me, most women, I say most, I won't say all, but most women are attractive in varying degrees. On the other side, there's very few men that I find attractive, but sometimes I do, and I'm like, Now, in high school, there was a guy that was rather open about his bisexuality, and he's always trying to encourage me to engage in activities with him. And the one time I decided I was going to do it, we were going to sneak out and get together. And, he got caught sneaking out and never did happen. And so, it was years later, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I was on Adult Friend Finder, and, the women weren't showing up, but there was this one guy, and he showed up, and I liked him, and it was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And it broke down a whole lot for me. It just shattered everything that I thought was, I won't say right and wrong. Well, yes, it's hard to say whether it was right or wrong. Most of that stuff I just said it's not for me. Like the bisexual thing, it was always like, oh, yeah, I couldn't do that because I like women too well. So, you know what? I couldn't possibly. So, it broke a whole lot of stuff. It made me think, okay, if this is possible, other things are possible. And so, you know, I started exploring other things and breaking down the programming in my head and exactly why I was so driven to, you know, have a family and 2.3 children in a minivan and a picket fence and all that stuff. Is like, eventually, you know, I am happily single right now. I'm not. If somebody came along that was right, that'd be great. But they haven't come along. Something I noticed was that the women I would really want to have a relationship with, they were on their own spiritual path, and they weren't interested in any sort of romantic stuff at all. It wasn't a personal thing or anything. It was just they're on their spiritual path and they're not interested. And I'm pretty much that way right now. And probably 99% of the women out there that I meet, you know, they're on their worldly path, and they would not be interested in. Well, they would try to, you know, put me into the worldly path, sort of thing, and I'm like, I ain't gonna do that. But it opened up a whole bunch of stuff, and I started reading more books and you know, actually reading some of the books that are verboten, to use a nice little German word, like Mein Kampf. Take a look at Mein Kampf once or twice. Yeah. I started reading that. One of the chapters in there, he explains how to read something critically and how to analyze it. I'm like, yeah, that is dangerous to the powers that be. They would not want people to do that. So, you know, I'm trying to read the stuff that is, you know, outside of the normal box. I'm reading Satan Speaks right now from Anton LaVey. The guy writes very well. It is very refreshing. A lot of the other stuff I found on Satanism and stuff, it's Dick and Jane. I can't read this stuff. You know, I can skim the book and get some of the stuff out of it, but sitting down to read it is just painful. I'm sorry. It's just painful. And I'm like, he writes very eloquently. He's got good, he can laugh about stuff, and there's good humor in it, and he talks about a lot of the stuff I've talked about for years. So I'll probably do another video on that sort of philosophy too. And you know, it's not about worshiping the devil. It's not. It's about breaking all the programming and stuff that you've been brainwashed with ever since you were laying in your crib. So I encourage people to read the books that have been banned, have been ridiculed, people have said that they are really bad for you. When I was in college the first time, I read the Communist Manifesto, and I found that nobody else around had actually sat down and read this thing. I did a speech in speech class about it, and everybody was like, wow. So it was like, people don't sit down and read this stuff. You know, they get their information secondhand from somebody else that is bad, and they, you know, they just pass it by and think that is the truth about it, but it's not. Sit down and read it for yourself. Think about it. It may be trash, and if it is, you know, you discard it. But I think that's about all for today. I have delved into a lot of subjects that I haven't passed here. And I hope this is helpful as always. Blessed be y'all. This is Jen Fremont.